And welcome back to the Hotline. We're talking Drive to Survive, Series 7, Episode 3, the Mercedes, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, but not quite Lewis Hamilton episode. He's there. And he starts off, to be fair, actually, with, that February the 1st announcement, which we can see here, which I've mimicked here. Scuddy S. Ferrari is pleased to announce that Lewis Hamilton will be joining the team in 2025 on a multi-year contract that surprised Toto Wolff. We kind of went about it on episode 1, on our episode 1 review, but still, Toto Wolff talked about it with Susie Wolff. He can't believe that Lewis Hamilton is leaving, but it's not Lewis Hamilton who's the focus of this episode. It's kind of like the George Russell struggles and whether they're going to sign Kimi Antonelli. So, looking out for number 1 is the title for this episode. Who will Mercedes choose to replace Hamilton? Now, his boss, they discuss who they could choose. And Wolff revealed that Hamilton made him promise he wouldn't talk to Verstappen about a prospective Mercedes move while the Brit was contracted to the team, which I thought was interesting. That is new information which none of us knew. But this changes obviously when he signed with Ferrari, and Toto immediately begins having meetings with even Verstappen's father, and whispers are growing of an imminent Verstappen exit amid the Christian Horner Red Bull controversy. Although, in hindsight, I wonder how much that's actually fueled by, for example, Helmut Marko and Jos Verstappen, Max's father, because to be fair to Max, he was asked countless times in media, and he never said, "I'm not with Red Bull next year." To be fair to him, Horner then turns it on Wolff. Why isn't he giving George Russell the love, he points out, and I thought that's quite interesting. Fair play to Christian Horner. The episode then pivots as to whether other Mercedes driver Russell is ready to step into the team leadership role being vacated by Lewis Hamilton, and we go to Silverstone. But sadly, George Russell retires with a water leak, but then he wins in Belgium. But I digress. So, there we go, Lewis Hamilton. The first person, interestingly, they talk about is Carlos Sainz going possibly to Mercedes. That did seem at the beginning of the year a really big possibility, particularly because he was the He was the in-form driver at the beginning of the year, winning Australia without an appendix, if you remember. Yeah, that was one of his, I still think, an amazing result for him. In terms of the race, a bit boring, but what he achieved that weekend, brilliant. Anyway, this is not the Carlos Sainz episode. That's funny enough, next episode. This is the Mercedes episode. So Carlos Sainz, I think, would have been a really, really good fit. Who else were they thinking of? Well, they also mentioned this man here, Fernando Alonso. When they got mentioned, I thought, Susie Wolff, I don't know, for one thing, her face, she gave a really funny face, like not quite chewing a wasp, but you've eaten a sour grape that you didn't expect. And she intimates that obviously it needs to be a multi-year contract, suggesting that Fernando Alonso is too old. But I wonder, why the face? Is it because Fernando Alonso is really political, and when things do not go his way, somewhat controversial? Yes, he gets on with George Russell, but George Russell, he's not competing against George Russell, is he? Yes, he gets on with Lance Stroll because he knows he's better than Lance Stroll, and Daddy Stroll's paying all his checks. But as we've heard a bit, especially in the McLaren days, and also towards the end of 2024, when that Aston Martin was not particularly good, we heard the other Fernando come out. The one you don't want to hear starting to get a bit spicy on the radio. But could it be this guy here? This is obviously what we mentioned in the synopsis, Max Verstappen. It would be amazing if he went to Ferrari, but at the time he's got a good thing with Red Bull. And the question was, and to be fair, this was also in the media, so it's quite good that the episode focuses a bit on that, and Christian Horner, and the fact that Max does not seem happy in that Red Bull car. Could he go to Mercedes? I mean, we had all the main press, and even the Formula 1 press, suggesting that, making us believe it was a possibility, when I think in hindsight now, looking back at the whole season as a whole, it really never was. They're just making a mountain out of a molehill, it seemed. But at the time, it seemed like a genuine prospect. Once again, I'm sure people will be talking about it for 2026 if that Red Bull car is not good. It could again be a genuine prospect and be featured, obviously, in Drive to Survive. And this is Toto Wolff, obviously announcing that it was indeed Kimi Antonelli, which I thought was interesting.
He's ready.
He's ready.
Just the teddy bear.
And there's Kimi with his teddy bear.
The teddy bear.
Called
yeah,
Toto.
Actually.
Toto bear.
Toto bear.
There you go, which I thought was quite
He's
interesting.
taking care of the trophy, so it's good. He's doing a good job.
And here we go. Here's the announcement. Look at all those trophies.
Hello.
Talented guy.
Ciao.
Here we go.
We've organized that WhatsApp call to break the news
Obviously, loads of busybodies.
That
Drum
you're a
roll.
Mercedes Formula 1 driver next year.
I mean, to be
Thank-
fair,
oh
I
my-
think that's lovely.
Oh my god. That's a great news.
It is great news. And he looks so young.
Like
Here he is.
bit weird. It's something I've dreamed of for since
Yeah.
I was a kid.
We have super confidence in you. We are super
confident.
happy, and we will do this together.
Quindi ditemi qualcosa
There we
perché
go.
io non ho sentito
Sono Mercedes.
Vado qua.
I mean, his parents must be absolutely so proud of him at that point. I mean, there must have been tears, etc. I mean, well done, Kimi Antonelli. A dream come true. This prodigy from Mercedes. But what I thought was interesting was, there we go, breaking Kimi Antonelli to race for Mercedes in 2025. But bearing in mind that there were lots of question marks, was Kimi ready? There were rumours about Kimi Antonelli, going to the Williams team to try Formula One, kind of like the way George Russell did, pay his dues, so to speak. But I don't think Williams have even wanted him. They ended up obviously with Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, very strong lineup as well. But what I thought was interesting was what Toto Wolff said here, that he signed Kimi Antonelli, and the first thing was interesting because I think he's telling porcupines. But let's see, shall we? Porcupines, maybe.
I made up my mind 5 minutes after Lewis Hamilton told me that he's going to Ferrari.
I don't know if he means that in jest, but no. I mean, as you saw, if the Drive to Survive, yes, massive pinches of salt with some of the stuff, but no. It was talking to Verstappen, there were talks about Sainz. I don't think he made up his mind 5 minutes after Lewis Hamilton told him. I do believe he made up his mind that Kimi Antonelli was a serious contender for the Mercedes, for the Mercedes team to be George Russell's teammate. But no, not as dead cert. He's making a...
Obviously, there, we were discussing with other options, and also kept the Max idea that we discounted completely, looking at what happened at Red Bull.
Yes, Max is
but
discounted.
Instinctively, that is the lineup with these two that I always wanted. So the humility.
Is it though? I mean, like even the episode, it was like there were question marks about George Russell. And this is the thing that got me though. This is the main thing that really annoyed me about this episode. Drive to Survive, it skipped over Lewis Hamilton, arguably just the biggest story as anything, winning Silverstone. And they mentioned that way too quickly. It was more about George losing instead. Yeah, and to be fair, Danny Dell at 23, I completely agree. This is what I found there. I mean, the Hamilton meme there is absolutely right. So Drive to Survive. Let's focus on George Russell losing the race rather than Lewis Hamilton. Goodness knows how many, a 3-year losing streak, essentially, 20 almost, and winning Silverstone with Bono. There were tears, breaking the record for I think the most wins at a circuit, and it was his home Grand Prix. He was crying, I was crying, everybody was crying. That was a Lewis Hamilton Mercedes fan. It was hard not to get into the emotion, but no, they completely brushed it off. What are you doing? The Drive to Survive. But there we go. There's the man of the hour. I mean, essentially, they fast forward after that to Belgium, where George Russell ended up winning. Not really a controversial win, a really well-deserved win, with a caveat being that the Lewis Hamilton at the time, they suggested that Lewis saying, if I knew that George was doing that strategy, I would have done it too. And I'm sure he could have done it because he's better on the tyres. But alas, it was George Russell's call to make. He made it on his own. Lewis Hamilton maybe didn't think to make it. I don't know. And he deserved that victory. But it was taken away. He was disqualified. And that wasn't mentioned in the episode either. George Russell disqualified. Yeah, let's just scoot over that. And I thought, okay, if you're going to do anything, but then they choose different Grand Prix to focus on teams, so it's kind of like luck of the draw with Drive to Survive. But that Las Vegas win, there's when the number one for 2025 Mercedes emerged. It was Las Vegas as well. That's obviously when is the Belgian, but you won with a technically, well, it wasn't a legal car, but there we go. So discussions on Reddit. This is a Drive to Survive Series 7 Episode 3. They put the face Susie Pauls and Fernando, a possible replacement, is absolutely hysterical. I have not even read this, but you're absolutely right. And the face Toto makes before trying and failing to eat his pummicle is as nice as well. They put, someone's put, I refuse this was a real conversation. They showed up in Toto and Susie to talk about driver options. It was a really over the top episode. I hope they rein this back in of the series. But every year they seem to reduce the actual behind the scenes stuff and replace it with these lame script. Yeah, they do seem a bit scripted, don't they? Legitimately hilarious. Someone said, I love how aware they are of the cameras. And to be fair, people do seem to be more aware. MBS isn't going to be happy when finds out that Toto is pretty much just hung up on him. Oh dear. But there we go. It's quite interesting. Shouldn't at least shown his Vegas win in the end. But in fairness to that, I think maybe the Drive to Survive cameras, they're always around, but they focus, or they used to very least, focus on one team per race. So, this is interesting. As someone who only just started watching F1 last year, I didn't understand their complaints until this season, where they portrayed George's result in the 24 Belgian Grand Prix as a pure win, with no mention of the DQ. Deeply unserious. Though I still say I appreciate DTS for picking my interest in the sport to begin with. Yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, they tell stories, maybe not very accurate stories, but there we go. But if you made it to the end, just watching it is enough for us. But if you're not and you want to help out a bit more, make sure you're subscribed. That will give me a big cheesy grin. Also, hit the notification button if you do not want to miss an episode. But I'm going to try and review all the Drive to Survive over the next week or two. I don't know if I'll get them all done before the Australian Grand Prix, but fingers crossed. And if you are subscribed and you want to help a bit more other than watching it, hit that like button or comment below. Let us know what you thought about this episode of Drive to Survive. But until then, stay safe, thank you for watching, and speak to you soon.